The UFO that started it all. Roswell 1947, the crash that shook America. What if everything we've been told is a lie? What if the truth didn't crash but was buried? Summer 1947. New Mexico desert. A storm rolls across the night sky. A rancher named Mac Brazel hears a violent thunderclap. But this time, something is different. The ground shakes. The animals go silent. In the morning, he finds it. Metal debris scattered across the field. It's not from any plane he's ever seen. The material is light, silvery, but it doesn't burn. It doesn't bend. It snaps back into shape like memory foam from the future. What is this stuff? Brazel notifies the local authorities. Soon, the military arrives. Men in green suits, armed, they clear the site within hours. And then, a headline explodes across the world. RAF captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. It's the first time the term flying saucer is used in American media. The public is shocked, curious, excited. Aliens from another world. But less than 24 hours later, the story changes. The military releases a new statement. It was a weather balloon. Just a mistake, a misunderstanding. But was it? The official story and the silence. For decades, that was the end of it. Case closed. No follow-up, no press, no explanation for the bizarre material. The people who saw it were discredited, laughed at, labeled crazy. But behind the scenes, rumors spread. Whispers, secrets. People said they saw more than just debris. They saw bodies, not human ones. Small, thin, with large heads and black eyes. And then came Project Mogul. In 1994, the U.S. Air Force declassified a report. They claimed the crash debris came from a top-secret project, a high-altitude balloon designed to detect Soviet nuclear tests. That's it, they said. Mystery solved. Move along. But the report raised more questions than it answered. Project Mogul cover story or real tech? If Project Mogul was real, why did it take nearly 50 years to mention it? Why did the debris behave like nothing known to science at the time? More importantly, why were civilian witnesses told to stay quiet or disappear? Some reported being threatened, watched, followed. Jesse Marcel, one of the military officers who first handled the wreckage, later said, "It was not a damn weather balloon. It was something else." His son recalls seeing strange metal with hieroglyphic-like symbols. Not English, not Russian, something otherworldly. What if IT wasn't ours? Let's stop and imagine. Let's say just for a moment, it wasn't a balloon. It wasn't Soviet tech. It wasn't a mistake. What if it was an aircraft from beyond Earth, sent here for a reason? To watch, to warn, to contact. And we shot it down. Or worse, it crashed by accident, and we seized the opportunity. Government secrecy coincidence. Roswell wasn't the first UFO sighting in 1947. It was just the loudest. Just weeks earlier, Kenneth Arnold saw 9 flying discs near Mount Rainier. He described their motion as like a saucer skipping over water. That phrase flying saucer was born. After Roswell, sightings exploded from every corner of the world. Reports from pilots, soldiers, even astronauts. But the message was always the same. You didn't see anything. It was just a balloon. Don't ask questions. Why the cover-up? Why the denial? Were they protecting national security or protecting a truth we weren't ready to hear? The debris that couldn't be explained. Witnesses described the wreckage as indestructible, lightweight but stronger than steel. Not from this earth. It had strange inscriptions. Some said it shimmered with colors they couldn't describe. Sound like alien tech. Or Could it have been a secret U.S. experiment gone wrong? Either way, why not just say that from the beginning? Why lie? Theories, UFO or Cold War. Some believe it was a Soviet spy drone, or a German V-2 experiment gone rogue, or even reverse-engineered Nazi technology with help from Operation Paperclip. But others think bigger. Alien reconnaissance craft, monitoring human civilization, crashing due to a malfunction or radar weapon. If true, Roswell wasn't just a crash. It was first contact, and we missed it. Eyewitness accounts still speaking today. Even today, descendants of the original witnesses are still speaking out. They describe men in black suits, threats to stay silent, a campaign to erase all evidence. But why erase it if it wasn't real? Think about that. You don't cover up balloons. You don't erase weather reports. You don't threaten civilians over scrap metal. The missing pieces. Where's the debris now? Locked away in Area 51. In a government lab, hidden from the public. Some whistleblowers say it was studied, replicated, used to advance modern stealth technology decades ahead of its time. A wild claim. Or is it why our aircraft suddenly became invisible in the 1980s? What if they never left? Some believe the Roswell craft wasn't alone. It was part of a scouting fleet. One went down, but others completed their mission, and they're still here, watching, lending in, learning how we live, how we think, how we react to fear. Maybe they're not invading. Maybe they've already integrated. Look around you. Would you even know what to look for? Roswell wasn't the end, it was the beginning. From Roswell forward, UFO sightings increased. Patterns emerged, always near nuclear facilities, military bases, places of high energy. Was it coincidence? Or were they monitoring our most dangerous inventions? Roswell didn't close a chapter. It opened a portal of questions. And now you have to ask yourself, did the U.S. government really recover an alien spacecraft? Was it just Cold War tech, or something humanity wasn't meant to see? What else have they hidden from us, and why? If they're here, are they watching us now? Would you know if your neighbor wasn't human? Roswell 1947. The moment the world almost learned the truth, and then lost it. But the question still burns. If that wasn't a flying saucer, then why are we still talking about it 77 years later? Lights over Lubbock, they were watching. The 1951 Texas incident, when scientists saw the unexplainable. What if aliens weren't hiding from us but letting us see them on purpose? What if the watchers were always watching back? August 25, 1951, Lubbock, Texas. A warm summer night. Clear skies. College professors gather in a backyard. Astronomy, physics, engineering. The sharpest minds in the state. They're not drinking, not joking. They're talking stars. And then it happens. A flash. Then another. An arc of lights, blue white, glowing, flies overhead. Not one light. Not two. Dozens, in perfect formation. No sound. No turbulence. No explanation. These aren't meteors. Not stars. Not birds. They move too fast. Too perfectly. And then they're gone. Scientists saw it too. The professors at Texas Tech University go public. They're not conspiracy theorists. They're academics. They write down what they saw. Describe the flight path, draw diagrams, compare it to aircraft, birds, anything natural. Nothing fits. One of them, Dr. W.I. Robinson, later says, "We are convinced it was a real object or objects, and not a reflection or illusion. This wasn't some farmer in the middle of nowhere. These were scientists, educators, respected men of logic. and they had seen something they could not explain. Photographic evidence. A few nights later, a teenager named Carl Hart Jr. captures it on camera. He takes 5 black and white photographs of the lights in the night sky. Perfect formation. No visible aircraft. No trails. He sells the pictures to a local newspaper. They're published across the country. The world takes notice. And suddenly, the U.S. Air Force is very interested. Enter Project Blue Book. In response, the military sends investigators from Project Blue Book, the top-secret U.S. Air Force program tasked with analyzing UFO sightings. They interview witnesses, collect data, examine Hart's photographs. But the verdict? Probably birds. That's right. They said it was a flock of plover birds reflecting city lights, migrating, gliding silently. Information. But wait, why would trained professors mistake birds for aircraft? Why no flapping? Why no sound? And if it was birds, why would the government care so much? Why silence the sky? Multiple witnesses say military personnel visited them, told them not to talk, tried to buy Hart's negatives, tried to take control of the narrative. Sound familiar? Just like Roswell, 4 years earlier. Only this time, there was no crash, only observation. Were the lights testing something? Monitoring us? Sending a message? They broke the rules of flight. Let's talk physics. These lights made no sound, flew faster than commercial aircraft, maintained perfect formation, turned without deceleration, left no trace. What known aircraft in 1951 could do that? None. This was the Cold War era. Jets were loud, slow to turn, and rarely flew in tight formation over civilian skies, especially without reason. A global pattern. Similar sightings were reported around the same time. New Mexico, Arizona, northern Mexico, all silent, all light-based, all behaving like intelligent craft. Could they have been part of a coordinated scan of Earth's atmosphere, or mapping something? Maybe they weren't watching the sky. Maybe they were watching us. The theory, alien recon. Some believe the Lubbock lights were scout probes, not manned ships, but AI-guided reconnaissance crafts. Autonomous, silent, precise, designed to observe human activity, especially near military, scientific, or educational centers, especially those developing nuclear or energy-based technologies. Texas Tech, at the time, had growing programs in radar and physics. Coincidence or targeted interest? Pilots saw them too. It wasn't just professors. Several Air Force pilots and civilian flyers reported seeing the same lights. Some chased them, but couldn't keep up. One pilot claimed the lights climbed at an impossible angle and disappeared over the clouds without a trace. He radioed his control tower. I don't know what that was, but it wasn't one of ours. That transmission was never officially released, but leaked years later. Why hasn't this been taught in schools? Why is the Lubbock Lights incident missing from most history books? Why do kids grow up learning about Sputnik, the moon landing, but not the night Texas professors saw a UFO? Is it because they can't explain it, or because they know exactly what it was, and they're still hiding it? What if you saw it? Now imagine this. You walk outside tonight. The air is still. The sky is clear. Suddenly, a group of silent, glowing lights glides overhead. Perfect formation. No sound. No wings. Too fast for any drone. Too smooth for any human craft. Would you tell someone? Would they believe you? Or would you doubt your own eyes? History repeats. Lubbock Lights. Phoenix Lights. O'Hare Airport. Nimitz-Tiktaisi encounter. decades apart, different countries, same descriptions, silent, intelligent movement, no visible means of propulsion, disappearing in an instant. These aren't random flukes. They're patterns. And Lubbock was one of the earliest. Are they letting us see? If they're advanced enough to fly undetected, then they're advanced enough to avoid being seen. So, why do we sometimes see them? Is it an accident? A leak in their cloaking tech? Or are they letting us know, softly, gently, that they're here, watching, waiting? Would you even want to know? Because here's the real question. If they revealed themselves tomorrow, what would you do? Would you run? Would you hide? Would you worship? Would you attack? Or would you freeze, unable to understand what was standing before you? Maybe they're waiting for that answer before they ever decide to fully appear. Lubbock left a mark. Even after 7 decades, the Lubbock lights are still unsolved, still unexplained, still unforgettable. Some call it mass hysteria. Others say it's classic Cold War paranoia. But to those who saw it, it was real. It changed them. And it made one thing clear. We are not alone in the sky. What else have they seen? If they were watching over Texas in 1951, where else have they been? Who else have they observed? What else have they learned? Maybe they're learning how to become one of us, because the more you stare at the lights in the sky, the more you start to wonder, are they watching back? Have they always been watching? And what will they do once they've seen enough? Phoenix Lights mass alien encounter. 1997, over 10,000 witnesses saw something the government couldn't explain. What happens when an entire city sees the same UFO at the same time? And the government says, it never happened. March 13, 1997. Phoenix, Arizona. A warm, peaceful evening. No storms. No military drills. Then, the sky changed. IT began with light. Around 7:55 p.m., strange lights appeared over Henderson, Nevada. Bright, silent, moving in a perfect V shape. They weren't blinking. They weren't planes. And they were huge. Really huge. Witnesses described them as the size of a football stadium. Others said they couldn't even see the edges, like it covered the sky itself. The lights moved slowly, too slow for aircraft, too quiet for helicopters, too perfect for human error. They passed silently across the desert, and they were headed for Phoenix. 10,000 plus people can't be wrong. By 8:30 p.m., they arrived. Tens of thousands of people looked up from their homes, highways, backyards, and balconies. They all saw the same thing. A massive black triangle, 5 lights underneath, moving too low, too slow, too smooth. No engine noise, no wind disturbance, no sonic boom, just gliding. Many said they could see the stars disappear behind the object. It wasn't just lights. It was a solid, physical craft. Police, pilots, politicians. This wasn't just your average UFO crowd. Among the witnesses were police officers, commercial airline pilots, military veterans, even Arizona's governor, Fife Symington. He later said, "I'm a pilot. I've flown all kinds of aircraft, and this was nothing like anything I've ever seen. It was otherworldly." At the time, though, he mocked the incident in a press conference. He even brought someone in a fake alien costume to lighten the mood. Years later, he admitted, "I did that because I was scared. The public was scared. The government was scared." Mass sighting, zero response. So, what did the military say? At first, nothing. No statements. No denials. Just silence. Later, they claimed it was military flares dropped during a training exercise. But those who saw it say, "No way. Flares don't move in formation. They don't block out stars. They don't stay silent for miles. Besides, would flares be dropped directly over a major U.S. city, and at that exact moment, too big to ignore. News channels picked up the story. Local call-in shows were flooded with first-hand reports. Even national networks started to ask questions. This wasn't a hoax. This wasn't a rumor. This was an event, an undeniable, citywide UFO sighting. But still no full investigation. No national emergency broadcast. No answers. Theories, secret tech, or something else. Some believe the Phoenix Lights were top-secret military aircraft, a new stealth blend, a massive experimental drone, some kind of black-budget triangle craft like the rumored TR-3B. But there's a problem. The government says no such aircraft exists. And if it did, why fly it over a populated city during prime time? Why turn off stealth mode? Others believe this was a test, not of technology, but of public reaction. Could they hide a UFO in plain sight? Could they discredit 10,000 people with one news cycle? Fear of panic? Maybe the biggest question. Why cover it up? Were they afraid of mass hysteria, riots, loss of control? After all, if a giant alien ship can fly over Phoenix without resistance, what else can it do? And what does that say about our defenses? Maybe the government decided, better to deny than to admit we're powerless. Could it have been a message? Let's say it wasn't from Earth. Then why appear so boldly? Why let 10,000 people see it, with no attempt to hide? Some researchers believe it was intentional, a show of force, a quiet hello, a test of perception. Were they trying to see how we'd react? Or were they letting us know, we're here, we've always been here, and we're not hiding anymore? Mass hallucination or mass awakening? Skeptics say it was a case of mass hysteria, a psychological trick of the light, optical illusion, military confusion. But remember, these weren't just scared civilians. They were seasoned pilots, radar technicians, trained officers, the governor of the state, all saying the same thing, all describing the same shape, the same lights, the same feeling. It wasn't human. The eye in the sky. Some believe the craft was not just observing, but recording, scanning thoughts, recording responses, tracking the public's emotional state, using technology beyond our imagination. That night may have been a data sweep, a silent study, a scan of human fear, curiosity, and denial. Coordinated contact. What if Roswell, Lubbock, and Phoenix aren't separate events? What if they're chapters in one long contact strategy, testing our skies, testing our minds, measuring our readiness? Are we pieces on a chessboard? Are we the ones being studied? Or are we being gently prepared for something bigger? Would you want to know? If tomorrow the government finally said, yes, it was real, they're real, they've been here for decades, would you celebrate or panic? Would you demand answers or feel powerless? Are we ready for that truth? Or are we still too afraid of the dark? The incident that won't die. Decades later, the Phoenix Lights still haunt America's skies. It's one of the most well-documented, widely witnessed, and yet still officially unexplained events in UFO history. You can mock Roswell, ignore Lubbock, but you can't erase 10,000 witnesses. Or was that the point? Maybe the Phoenix Lights weren't a mistake. Maybe they weren't even a message. Maybe they were a test of memory, of belief, of power, to see how easy it is to make people doubt their own eyes. And if they passed that test, what comes next? Because if you saw something like that tonight, would you even believe yourself? And if you did, who would believe you? Ancient aliens, gods, or visitors? Did extraterrestrials build the pyramids? What if history is wrong? What if the gods of ancient times were never gods at all? The pyramids, too perfect to be human. Giza, Egypt. The Great Pyramid, over 4,500 years old, made from 2.3 million stone blocks, each weighing several tons, aligned with mathematical precision, oriented perfectly to true north, laid out in a configuration that mirrors the stars of Orion's belt. No GPS, no computers, no cranes, and somehow built in just 20 years. How? Seriously, how? The impossible engineering. Let's break it down. The base of the Great Pyramid is within 1 inch of perfect level across 13 acres. Each block fits so tightly, a razor blade can't slide between them. The height-to-base ratio equals pi down to the third decimal. The king's chamber is made of granite blocks transported over 500 miles. And we're told this was built with copper chisels and ropes. Even modern engineers say, we couldn't replicate this today without advanced machinery. So the question remains, did ancient humans have help? Was this a message or a map? Now zoom out. The pyramids aren't the only mystery across the world. In summer, India, Peru, Mexico, Cambodia, and Turkey, we find megalithic structures with astronomical alignments, carvings of beings in strange shoots, depictions of flight, fire, and glowing lights, myths of beings from the stars. These civilizations never met, never traded, never shared a language, and yet they told the same stories. The theory, ancient alien contact. It's called the ancient astronaut theory. The idea, thousands of years ago, extraterrestrials visited Earth. They didn't conquer. They didn't invade. They guided, taught math, taught astronomy, taught agriculture and architecture. In return, early humans called them gods. Evidence from across the world. In Egypt, the dendera-like relief appears to show giant light bulbs. Carvings show flying discs, helicopters, and rockets in temples built 3,000 years before flight. In summer modern-day Iraq, the Anunnaki are described as gods who descended from the heavens. They brought laws, calendars, and even genetic knowledge. In Peru, the Nazca lines stretch for miles, massive geoglyphs only visible from the air. Why draw runways and humanoid figures if no one could see them from above? In India, ancient texts like the Vedas describe flying machines, vimanas, and star battles, weapons that sound eerily like nukes, thousands of years before the atomic age. In Mexico, the Temple of Kukulkan is mathematically linked to the solar calendar. Statues resemble beings with helmets and breathing gear, knowledge too advanced for the time. Ancient civilizations knew the exact length of a solar year, the precession of the equinoxes, advanced metallurgy and stone cutting, complex geometry. Many of these concepts weren't rediscovered until the Renaissance. So, how did they know? Did they guess? Or were they shown? Coincidence or pattern? Sure, you could dismiss one pyramid, one glyph, one myth, but when cultures separated by oceans and centuries all speak of sky gods, beings from the stars, flying chariots, fire from the heavens, at what point does it stop being coincidence and start becoming a pattern? Who taught us to think? Some believe the true alien contact wasn't physical. It was intellectual, an injection of consciousness, a nudge in our DNA, a whisper in the minds of early humans. From cave paintings to quantum physics, humanity evolved too quickly. From hunter-gatherers to astronomers in a cosmic blink. How? Is it possible they planted the seeds of civilization and left us to grow? Why don't we know this? If this theory holds any truth, why isn't it in our history books? Because it challenges everything: religion, science, human ego. To admit ancient aliens existed is to admit we are not the most intelligent beings to ever walk the earth, that we might be the students, not the creators. And maybe we're still in class. Was Earth a training ground? What if Earth wasn't just visited? What if it was used as a test site, as a farm, as a lab? What if ancient monuments are cosmic beacons, left behind to signal others, to remind us? Maybe we were never meant to forget, but someone made us forget. Tools or triggers? Could the pyramids hold more than just history? Some theorists believe they store energy, align with celestial events, interact with Earth's magnetic field. Were they machines? Gateways? Warnings? Were they built to be activated one day, when we were ready, or when they return? The stories never went away. Even now, tribal cultures speak of sky beings. Even now, shamans claim to receive visions from the stars. Even now, we build rockets to go where they came from. Why? Because deep down, we remember. Were they gods or visitors? What's more terrifying, that aliens visited Earth 10,000 years ago, or that we've mistaken them for gods ever since? If they return, will they come as creators? Or will they judge what we've done with their gift? Are we still worthy of their knowledge? Or have we become a danger to ourselves? History isn't what we think. We think of the past as primitive, but maybe it was just encoded, hidden in stone, buried in myth, waiting for us to decode it. The ancients weren't crazy. They left us clues, not just about the past, but about our future. What if they never left? Maybe ancient aliens didn't vanish. Maybe they watch from above, or walk among us, silent, observing, waiting for the day we finally understand what they gave us and what we're meant to become. Because if we were built in their image, maybe we were built for more. And now the question is yours. Did aliens build the pyramids? Or did they build us? Project Blue Book. What they found will shock you. The U.S. Air Force's secret UFO investigation 195-1969. Why did the U.S. government spend 17 years chasing UFOs, then suddenly stop and lock the files away? IT started with fear. The year is 1952. The Cold War is heating up. Paranoia is everywhere. Communism, nukes, espionage. But another threat is rising. From the sky, UFO sightings are skyrocketing across America. Pilots, civilians, soldiers, even radar towers pick them up. The military can't ignore it anymore. So the U.S. Air Force launches a top-secret investigation. Project Blue Book. The goal: find the truth, or bury IT. From 1952 to 1969, the U.S. Air Force officially investigated 12,618 UFO reports. Yes, 12,618, from all over the country, many from trained professionals. And while most were explained as weather balloons, stars, or jets, 701 cases remain completely unexplained. Let that sink in. 701 incidents with no aircraft, no weather event, no human logic to explain them. Objects that defied gravity, vanished instantly, broke the sound barrier without a sonic boom, outmaneuvered the fastest jets. So the question is, what did they really find? Science or a smokescreen? Officially, Blue Book claimed it was scientific research, but many insiders say otherwise. Dr. J. Allen Hynek, the project's scientific advisor, was a skeptic at first, but years later, he admitted the Air Force was not conducting an objective investigation. It was more about debunking than discovery. So, why fund the program at all? Unless something scared them. Strange cases they couldn't explain. Let's look at just a few of those 701 cases. The 1957 Leveland incident, Texas. Multiple people, including police, saw a glowing object land on the road. As it passed, car engines died. Radios went dead. Lights blacked out. Then the object lifted silently into the sky. No plane can do that. No weather can kill electronics in that pattern. The 1964 Lonnie Zamora case, New Mexico. A police officer sees a flame and hears a roar near a remote area. He investigates, finds a silver, egg-shaped craft. Two small beings outside. The craft lifts off silently and vanishes. Zamora was terrified. He never changed his story. The FBI even got involved. Still unexplained. The 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO flap. Radar detected multiple unknown objects over the nation's capital. They moved in impossible ways. Jets were scrambled, but couldn't catch them. Headlines screamed, "Flying saucers over Washington." Panic spread. So did silence. No answers. Just denial. What made them shut it down? In 1969, after 17 years and thousands of reports, Project Blue Book was suddenly closed. The Air Force declared, "No UFO has ever been a threat to national security. Nothing suggests UFOs are extraterrestrial." Just like that, it was over. No more investigations. No more updates. Just a wall of secrecy. But here's the strange part. Right after it closed, more sightings occurred. More pilots reported contact. More military encounters leaked. So, what really changed? Were they hiding something? If the Air Force really believed UFOs weren't dangerous, why continue monitoring them secretly? Because they did. Classified documents and Freedom of Information leaks show intelligence agencies still track sightings. Pilots were told to stay silent. Radar data was confiscated. Civilian reports were lost. Sounds more like containment than closure. Was Project Blue Book just a cover? Some researchers believe Blue Book wasn't about finding truth, but managing public perception. It was a front, a way to make people feel like someone was doing something, while real investigations happened behind black budget walls, possibly under Project Sign, Project Grudge, or even newer, still classified programs we've never heard of. What if the files we see aren't the files that matter? The Blue Book mystery. Even today, Project Blue Book remains one of the most controversial government programs in UFO history. Why? Because it proves three things. The U.S. government took UFOs seriously. They spent millions of dollars trying to explain them. They failed, and yet, they told us, "Don't worry, it was all just swamp gas." What if they found something too big? Some insiders believe Blue Book did find the truth, but it was too shocking, too dangerous, too disruptive to reveal. What if they discovered UFOs were real? They weren't ours. They came and went at will, and we couldn't stop them. That would mean no control over our own skies, no protection from outside visitors, no defense against unknown technology. Wouldn't you shut it down too? The whistleblowers speak. Decades after the project closed, former military personnel started speaking up. They saw files that were never released. They tracked objects moving faster than any missile. They recovered debris that didn't match any known material. Some even claimed contact with non-human intelligence. Are they crazy? Or are they the only ones brave enough to break silence? Hollywood or reality? Project Blue Book inspired books, documentaries, even a TV series. But let's ask the uncomfortable question. Why does fiction keep looking more like truth? Why does every story end the same way? The cover-up, the denial, the unexplained object, the silence. Maybe fiction isn't copying reality. Maybe it's preparing us for it. And if you were in charge, imagine you're the Air Force. You've just found something that moves faster than light, can turn invisible, can appear without warning, and doesn't care about our weapons. Would you tell the world? Or would you keep it quiet and pray no one finds out? The human limit. Maybe we didn't shut down Project Blue Book because there was nothing there. Maybe we shut it down because there was too much there. Too much mystery, too much fear, too many answers we weren't ready to face. Maybe we're still not ready. The final files. Today, the Blue Book files are declassified. You can read them, but the most disturbing ones, they're missing, redacted, blacked out, gone. What were we not allowed to see? What happened in those 701 cases? Did we meet them? Did we speak? Or did we learn something we could never unlearn? So now you have to ask yourself, why did they stop Project Blue Book? Was it because they found nothing or because they found too much? And if they really did meet something out there, did it change what it means to be human? Alien autopsy truth or the greatest hoax of the century? The shocking video that claimed to show a real alien from Roswell. What would you do if you saw an alien in a medical table? Not in a movie, not in a dream, but in black and white footage released to the world. Would you believe it? Or would you say, that has to be fake? But what if it wasn't? The video that shocked the world. London, England. A grainy VHS tape is released to the public. The footage is eerie, silent, almost still. It shows a small gray being laying lifeless on a table. Large head, black eyes, thin limbs, 6 fingers. Military men stand around it. Doctors in hazmat suits begin the autopsy. They cut into the body. They remove strange organs. They measure. They record. The label on the tape, Alien Autopsy Roswell 1947. Explosion of controversy. The footage is sold to Fox Television in the U.S. They broadcast it nationwide under the title, Alien Autopsy, Fact or Fiction. And millions of people watch it. For some, this was confirmation. Proof that the Roswell crash was real. Proof that the U.S. military recovered an alien body and kept it hidden for almost 50 years. But for others, it's too perfect. It looks like a prop. Where's the blood? The world was divided, but no one could look away. Who made the tape? The man behind the footage was Ray Santilli, a British film producer. He claimed he got the tape from a retired U.S. military cameraman. This cameraman allegedly filmed the autopsy in July 1947, shortly after the Roswell crash. According to Santilli, the film deteriorated. Most was unusable, but we salvaged this portion. Was that true? Or was it just the perfect excuse for grainy, low-quality footage? The FBI steps in. Yes, the FBI actually investigated. After the video went viral, federal agents began asking questions. Who made this? Where was it shot? Was this classified material? And more importantly, if it's fake, why does it look so convincing? And if it's real, who leaked it? To this day, the full details of their investigation have never been made public. Let's talk about the autopsy itself. Medical professionals analyzed the tape. Some pointed out the surgical technique was odd. The tools used weren't standard. The movement of the doctors was slow, even awkward. But others said that's how it would look in a biohazard situation. They weren't performing for a crowd. They were documenting something never seen before. Every cut, every probe, every glance was filled with tension. This wasn't a Hollywood scene. There was no dramatic music, no commentary, just surgery on something not human, the body itself. Let's break it down. The being was about 4 feet tall, head disproportionately large, no ears, large black eyes, no visible genitals, 6 fingers on each hand, internal organs that didn't match any known human anatomy. Artists, scientists, and skeptics tried to recreate it. Some came close, but none matched every detail. So was it a prop, a puppet, or a body? Then came the confession. In 200,611 years later, Santilli made headlines again. He admitted the autopsy footage was partially recreated. He said, the original footage was too damaged to use. So, we filmed a reconstruction using actors and props. Wait, what? So, it's fake? Santilli then claimed. No, it's based on real footage. Some frames from the original are included, but most was reenacted. Now ask yourself, is that a lie to protect someone? Or have her story after getting caught? Why does IT still matter? If it was fake, why did millions believe it? Why did UFO researchers, military insiders, and even scientists say this could be real? Why did the FBI get involved? And most importantly, why do people still debate it 30 years later? Roswell connection. Let's go back to Roswell, 1947. A supposed alien craft crashes in the desert. The U.S. Army recovers strange wreckage. Then, suddenly, they reverse their statement. It was just a weather balloon. But insiders claim bodies were recovered. They were taken to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. An autopsy was conducted, and everything was covered up. The autopsy video was said to be from that day. So either Santilli got access to something the world wasn't supposed to see, or guessed every detail right. If IT was a hoax, IT was a masterpiece. Let's be honest, creating a believable alien autopsy isn't easy. The lighting, the anatomy, the mannerisms, the old-school film grain. Even Hollywood professionals admit it's either real or made by a genius. So, again we ask, was it fake? Or was it so real that the only way to release it was to pretend it was a hoax? Why would anyone hide the truth? Simple. If governments admit they recovered an alien body, world religions would shake. Global panic could follow. Power structures would collapse. So maybe a video leaked quietly, not through a general, not through a whistleblower, but through a filmmaker. And the perfect way to discredit it. It's just a fake. Case closed. No more questions. Whistleblowers still talk. Over the years, many former military personnel have backed up the autopsy video. Some say they saw similar footage during training. Others say they worked at Hangar 18 where alien bodies were stored. Are they all lying? Or are they the missing links in this massive puzzle? So, what do you believe? Let's ask again. Why did Santilli wait nearly 50 years after Roswell to release this? Why didn't the government sue him for releasing classified footage? Why did medical experts say this isn't a simple fake? Why does this story still haunt the internet decades later? And if it was fake, why did it feel so real? Is the truth hiding in plain sight? What if the alien autopsy video was the closest we'll ever get to disclosure? What if the original footage really did exist, and this was just a sanitized version for public consumption? What if right now, in some underground vault. The real tapes sit, dusty, locked away, untouchable, waiting for a day when the world is ready. Fact or fiction, why does IT stay alive? Maybe the truth doesn't need to be proven. Maybe it only needs to be remembered. Every time someone watches that video, they ask themselves, could this be real? And that question is more dangerous than any answer. So now the choice is yours. Is the alien autopsy a hoax or the single greatest leak in human history? And if it is real, what else are we not being shown? They're among us, hidden in plain sight. Did CIA agents work with human-shaped aliens? What if you shook hands with someone who wasn't human? What if they looked like us, spoke like yous, acted like us, but weren't one of us? The claim: we worked with them. Multiple former intelligence officials from the CIA and SA, and even the Pentagon, have dropped the same bombshell. We've had contact, not just sightings, not just crashed crafts. We've worked with them. Some claim these beings were assigned to secret programs, monitored nuclear facilities, sat in on classified briefings. Wait, what? Aliens in our government? Former CIA operative speaks out. One of the most shocking testimonies came from a retired CIA agent, only identified as Cooper in leaked interviews. In his words, I was shown documents describing joint operations with extraterrestrials. They looked almost identical to humans, taller, paler skin, larger eyes. But biologically, they weren't us. They were called abyss, extraterrestrial biological entities. He claimed that these beings were involved in telepathic communication, technology exchange, and monitoring Earth's military capabilities. Sounds insane. Maybe, but he's not alone. NSA whistleblowers back IT up. Several former NSA insiders speaking anonymously addressed similar programs. They said there were protocols for contact. Some agents were even trained to communicate with certain alien races. The beings could mimic human emotion, but not perfectly. They were obsessed with our energy sources, especially nuclear. The most chilling part, they walk among us. They don't need to hide in ships. They hide in plain sight. The shapeshifter theory. A growing number of researchers now believe there's a specific alien species capable of biological disguise. Some call them the Nordics, the tall whites, or simply the others. They allegedly resemble Scandinavian humans, can adjust their skin tone and voice, learn languages in days, operate within elite sectors, science, defense, tech. Are they infiltrating society? Or were they invited? Why would they hide? Let's consider this. If you were an advanced species monitoring Earth, would you hover in the sky? Or would you embed yourself in our systems? Governments, corporations, research labs. Why reveal yourself when you could observe from the inside? Secret agreements. There are persistent rumors of a 1950s agreement between U.S. officials and extraterrestrials. Known as the Greta Treaty, it allegedly allowed limited alien presence on Earth in exchange for technology and the right to monitor certain human activities. In return, the aliens agreed to stay hidden. But what if that agreement was broken? Declassified documents hint at more. Some partially declassified memos obtained via the Freedom of Information Act reference extraterrestrial biological presence on Earth, monitoring of hybrid integration projects, unacknowledged special access programs, USAPs involving non-human entities. The wording is vague, redacted, but the tone, chillingly real. The psychological profile. If aliens are among us, how would we know? According to intelligence reports, they show limited emotional range, struggle with humor and sarcasm, are uncomfortable in crowded places, often highly intelligent and socially distant. Have you ever met someone like that? Someone who seemed off? Now imagine thousands of them, working in silence, watching. DNA a possible clue. Some fringe scientists claim to have tested unknown DNA strands from alleged hybrid humans. What they found? 46 chromosomes, like humans, but non-coding regions that don't match any Earth-based organism. Unusual electromagnetic resonance in the cellular structure. Is it a mutation, a fluke, or a designed integration? Strange migrations, strange behavior. Over the past few decades, sociologists have noticed sudden influxes of highly intelligent individuals in strategic industries, populations in key regions showing genetic anomalies, behavioral clusters that resemble collective programming. Coincidence, or a slow, silent assimilation? UFOs appear near nuclear sites again. If they are among us, why do we still see crafts in the sky? Simple. The ones on Earth aren't the only ones. There are different factions, different goals. Some protect, some observe, some might not agree with our existence. And UFO sightings often spike near nuclear facilities, satellite launch pads, deep space observatories. Are they checking our progress or monitoring the ones already here? Why is nitrogen monoxide one talking? Governments know that saying aliens are real and they look just like you would create chaos, fear, distrust, paranoia. That's why disclosure never comes as one big event. It comes in waves. Movies, leaks, whistleblowers. So, when the truth finally comes out, we already suspected. What if you've met one? Think back. That stranger who never blinked. That coworker who never aged. That official who just knew too much. Maybe it's just your imagination. Or maybe they weren't fully human. Government training material. Rumors persist that intelligence agencies have classified training documents labeled ET behavioral profiles, interspecies diplomacy protocols, social integration guidelines, type B entities. Why train agents to spot or talk to aliens? Unless they exist, and unless they're already here. What do they want? Some theorists believe they're watching our technological development, monitoring our environmental destruction, preparing us for future contact, or waiting for something we've forgotten. Others warn they're already influencing decisions from inside. If true, how much of our world is still human-led, hidden in plain sight? We used to look to the sky, but maybe we should be looking across the table, at the subway, in the boardroom, in the mirror. Maybe the invasion never needed spaceships. Maybe it came in a suit, with a smile, and a clearance badge. Full circle back to Roswell. What if the being from the alien autopsy wasn't the first, or the last? What if Roswell wasn't just a crash, but a handover, a trade, a meeting, the beginning of something far bigger than we ever imagined? And ever since, they've been part of us, shaping us, guiding us, or replacing us. So now we ask the impossible question. Are aliens living among us right now? Would you even know if they were sitting next to you? They are among us, walking in human skin. CIA whistleblowers say, we worked with them. What if the aliens never left? What if they didn't just fly overhead, but walk straight through our front doors? Would you even know if one was sitting next to you? A shocking testimony from inside the CIA. In a rare, anonymous video interview, an ex-CIA operative, codenamed Cooper, dropped a revelation that shook even hardened UFO researchers. He didn't hesitate. He didn't stutter. Yes, we worked with them. face to face. According to him, these beings weren't what you'd expect. No green skin, no bug eyes. Instead, they looked human. Mostly, just a little too perfect. Their eyes were deeper, voice slightly off, but they walked, talked, and dressed like us. Are they walking among us right now? Projects with contact protocols. Cooper wasn't alone. Several former NSA and DIA Defense Intelligence Agency insiders have come forward, some whistleblowing under oath, claiming that government contact protocols with non-human entities were created as early as the 1960s. These protocols allegedly involved briefing high-ranking personnel on how to respond to ET encounters, training liaison officers to manage silent exchanges, and even monitoring hybrids placed in human environments. Sound far-fetched? Then consider this. Why would multiple former agents separated by time, rank, and geography tell the same story? They look just like us. The most disturbing claim: some extraterrestrials have biologically evolved to appear human. This is echoed in the CIA's own alleged internal documents, where terms like EB Type 2 anthropomorphic, SHC synthetic human class entity, visual match protocol level 3, were supposedly used to describe entities that are undetectable by visual screening alone. Their traits: tall, often over 6'2", pale or translucent skin under UV, cold body temperature, emotionally detached but hyperintelligent, unnatural eye movement or blinking patterns. Can we spot them? Or are we already too late? Strange behavior, stranger intentions. Thousands of anecdotal reports from civilians, psychologists, and even priests describe individuals who seem off. No family history, never get sick, seem to appear out of nowhere, don't blink in conversations, never age. Coincidence or infiltration? If these beings were on Earth to observe, we mimic us, unless they've been here for far longer than we think. Underground facilities where the deals were made. Many researchers believe the real contact didn't happen on the surface. It happened underground. Facilities like Dulce Base, New Mexico, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, Hangar 18, S4 near Area 51, all rumored to be sites where joint operations between military and EBEs took place. Human-alien integration programs were quietly studied. Hybrid entities were monitored and tested, and now some have been released into the public. The Alien Integration Program. Yes, that's the phrase. Leaked memos from alleged insider Dr. Robert K. reference an unacknowledged program called IP Alien Integration Protocols. They aim blend non-human entities into human populations, test behavioral compatibility, study adaptation in social environments. These beings weren't visitors. They were experiments, and society was the test. Alien-human hybrids. A 2011 study by Harvard geneticist Dr. John K. was buried within months. He claimed to have discovered mitochondrial DNA sequences that did not match any known human ancestor. Jump genes activated by unknown environmental triggers. Neural structures in subjects that resembled enhanced cognition clusters. The samples? Taken from people who claimed to feel like they weren't from here. Discredited? Of course. But the data was never fully explained. Still appearing on radar. If they're already among us, we do the craft still appear? Because they're not all here yet. Some insiders believe the ones living among us are scouts, observation agents, not here to invade but to blend. And the lights in the sky, shuttles, data dumps, or replacements. Some even say, when one of them dies, another arrives. Why the cover-up? Why not tell the public? Because mass panic is real. Imagine governments admitting your neighbor might not be human. Entire departments could be infiltrated. You have no way of detecting it. Religious institutions would collapse. Civil unrest would explode. Trust in everything would dissolve. So they control the drip. Movies, leaks, whispers, never the truth. Only a hint. Hollywood's strange foreshadowing. From Invasion of the Body Snatchers to Men in Black to They Live, the same concept keeps returning. They walk among us. We can't tell who they are. Are these films just entertainment or soft disclosure? A way to prepare us? Maybe fiction isn't fiction. Maybe it's protocol. First contact has already happened. What if we're waiting for something that's already happened? Forget UFO landings. Forget open greetings. What if true contact is subtle? Not in lights, but in eye contact. Not in language, but in understanding. A handshake, a whisper, a silent exchange in a high-security room. We are here, and we're not leaving. If true, what comes next? If they've already integrated, what's their purpose? Are they observers, manipulators, ambassadors? Or are they waiting for us to reach a threshold, a level of technology, or consciousness, or self-destructs? Do they help or do they decide? Are we being studied or guided, or managed? The most uncomfortable question. Maybe this isn't about aliens living among humans. Maybe it's about humans who aren't fully human anymore. What if the next evolution of humanity wasn't born from us? What if it was inserted? And you? How would you know? The person next to you on the train, the scientist behind the latest discovery, the politician who never shows emotion, the influencer with hypnotic eyes, the stranger who never eats, never sleeps. Would you trust them? Would you question? Or would you join them? The stories you'll never see on TV. Pilots, police, firefighters, witnesses of the unexplainable. What if those sworn to protect us were silenced? What if their stories never made it to the headlines? What if the truth was hidden in whispers? Heroes who saw the impossible. Pilots navigating the night sky. Police officers patrolling quiet towns. Firefighters rushing toward flames. They have one thing in common. They've seen things that defy explanation. Strange lights moving at impossible speeds. Shapes that shift before their eyes. Silent crafts that vanish into thin air. Pilots speak up in secret. Hundreds of pilots worldwide have reported UFO encounters. One commercial pilot said, "I watched a craft race alongside my plane at Mach speeds. No sound, no lights, just pure energy." Military pilots reported objects that could stop instantly midair, change direction at right angles, outmaneuver jets with ease. Yet, when they tried to report, they faced dismissal, threats, silence. Police and first responders, the silent witnesses. On the ground, police officers and firefighters have seen phenomena too strange for official reports. One officer recounted, a glowing orb hovered over a forest fire. It moved through the smoke, seemingly watching us. Then it disappeared. A firefighter told of shapes of beings near crash sites, unlike anything I'd ever seen. No words, just cold presence. Why haven't these stories been widely shared? The forbidden truth. Many of these brave souls say they were warned. Don't talk about it. You'll lose your job. Your credibility will be destroyed. Some say they signed non-disclosure agreements. Others fear retaliation. One veteran pilot said, "I lost my clearance after reporting a UFO. It was like I never existed." Leaks and whistleblowers. Despite the silence, Leaks have surfaced. Some audio recordings of pilots describing unidentified objects have been leaked. Video footage from police dashcams sometimes capture unexplainable lights. But official agencies often dismiss these as weather balloons, optical illusions, military exercises. Is that the truth? Or a convenient cover-up? Why are they silenced? Why would authorities hush these first-hand witnesses? Some theories: to avoid public panic, to keep military secrets safe, to control the narrative. But the question lingers: what are they hiding? Families left in darkness. Witnesses often face personal consequences: broken marriages, loss of friends, professional isolation. One firefighter said, "People thought I was crazy. Even my own family stopped believing me." Why is telling the truth such a heavy burden? Connecting the dots. When pilots, police, and firefighters' accounts align, a pattern emerges. UFOs are real. They interact with Earth's atmosphere and environment. They appear near sensitive locations like military bases, nuclear plants, and disaster zones. Why these places? An unseen presence during crises. Some witnesses believe UFOs monitor human emergencies. One police chief reported UFOs appeared above a nuclear plant during a meltdown scare. They seemed to stabilize the situation. Is this intervention or mere observation? The media blackout. Despite numerous credible accounts, mainstream media rarely covers these stories. Why? Because reporting such encounters challenges the official position. There is no confirmed evidence of extraterrestrials, but eyewitnesses say otherwise. What if the truth is too big? Imagine if governments confirmed these accounts. Would society be ready? Would the economy collapse? Would religions adapt? Or would humanity unite in awe? Historical silences. The pattern of silencing witnesses isn't new. From Roswell's aftermath to modern-day encounters, official denial has been consistent. Witnesses who break silence often face character assassination. Is this a deliberate strategy? Who benefits from the lies? Some say governments keep secrets for power. Military-industrial complexes profit from reverse-engineered technology. Public ignorance maintains social control. If the truth was free, what would change? Eyes wide open. The next time you hear a strange noise in the sky or see a light that doesn't belong, remember, there are those who know. There are those who have seen. There are those who are forced to forget. Are you ready to hear what they can't say? The final question. What if the most important stories about our skies are the ones you'll never see on TV? What if the real witnesses are hidden in plain sight? And what if their silence is the loudest scream of all? The UAP report has the US government finally admitted the truth. What if the government finally said it out loud? Not just rumors, not just leaked footage, but official acknowledgement. 2021. The Pentagon's shocking release. In June 2021, the U.S. Department of Defense dropped a bombshell. A 25-page report detailing unidentified aerial phenomena, a formal term for what we call UFOs, was made public. The Pentagon admitted some UAPs observed in our airspace cannot be explained by current technology or known natural phenomena. This was unprecedented. Not all UFOs are Earth-made. The report clearly states a subset of UAPs appears to demonstrate advanced technology beyond anything currently known to the U.S. or its allies. In other words, some UFOs are not built by humans. They move in ways that defy physics. No engine noise, sudden acceleration, impossible maneuvers. This isn't science fiction anymore. But they still didn't say what they are. Despite this admission, The report carefully avoids one key question. What are these objects? The government's answer: we don't know. Or, maybe, they can't say. Why the silence? Why release the report, then leave the biggest question unanswered? Some experts suggest they're still investigating. They lack clear evidence to confirm origin. National security concerns prevent full disclosure. Others think it's more sinister. They want to prepare the public slow. They can't reveal everything because some truths are too dangerous. Over 140 incidents analyzed. The report covers more than 140 UAP sightings by military personnel since 2004. Most remain unexplained. In some cases, radar, infrared, and visual data all confirm the presence of physical objects. Yet, no known aircraft or natural phenomenon could explain them. Eyes in the sky. UAPs appeared over naval testing ranges, nuclear missile sites, military training exercises. Why do these mysterious crafts frequent such sensitive areas? Are they watching us? Testing our defenses? A global phenomenon. This isn't just a U.S. problem. Other countries, like China, Russia, and several European nations, report similar sightings. Do these UAPs belong to a single group, or multiple? Are we facing an international enigma? The tech inside UAPs. Experts analyzing leaked videos and censored data observe no heat signatures typical of conventional engines, ability to hover silently for minutes, instantaneous changes in speed and direction. If these aren't human-made, what tech powers them? Is it extraterrestrial or something else? Government's secret programs. The report mentions unacknowledged special access programs. These are projects unknown even to most government officials. Some speculate the government might have reverse-engineered alien technology. Could some UAPs be black-budget aircraft? Or are those just distractions? Insiders speak out. Several former intelligence officers have hinted there's more than the report reveals. We're seeing a fraction of the truth. Some phenomena challenge the very laws of physics. Why the secrecy? Is it fear of mass hysteria? Or a geopolitical gain? Implications for humanity. If UAPs are real and beyond human technology, what does it mean for us? Are we alone? Are we being observed? Are we ready for contact? And if not, are we vulnerable? The public reaction. Since the report's release, public interest exploded. Social media buzzed with theories and debates. Documentaries, news articles, and podcasts thrived. But the government's silence on what they are keeps the mystery alive. What if the truth is too big? Governments may hold back because disclosure could disrupt global order. The truth challenges religious and scientific beliefs. There's an ongoing negotiation with these entities. Are we just pawns in a much larger game? Your take. What do you believe? Is the UAP report the start of real disclosure, or just a calculated move to control the narrative? Will the government ever tell us the full story, or are some truths meant to remain hidden forever? Area 51, what are they really hiding? The most secret place on Earth? A place whispered about in every UFO circle. But what's really buried beneath the Nevada desert? Area 51, a military base or an alien graveyard. Officially, it's a remote Air Force test site, a proving ground for experimental aircraft. But locals say it's where the impossible lives. Since the 1950s, Area 51 has been shrouded in mystery. What are they hiding behind those barbed wires and no trespassing signs? Bob Lazar, the man who said it all. In 1989, a man named Bob Lazar stepped into the spotlight. A self-proclaimed physicist, Lazar claimed he worked on reverse engineering alien spacecraft at a secret site near Area 51 called S4. He described disc-shaped craft that defied gravity, engines powered by an element called element 115 unknown to science at the time, anti-gravity propulsion that could warp spacetime. His story sent shockwaves through the UFO community. Truthful or elaborate hoax? Skeptics dismissed Lazar as a fraud. No verified academic records. No confirmed employment at Area 51. But believers argue some of his predictions later proved accurate. Element 115 was synthesized years later. His detailed descriptions of secret hangars align with satellite images. Government silence fuels suspicion. Is Lazar a whistleblower or a con artist? What else is buried there? Testimonies from ex-military personnel talk about alien bodies stored in cryogenic chambers, captured extraterrestrial technology, secret flight tests of UFO-like crafts. Some say the government has multiple recovered crafts, some functional, some wrecked. Others whisper about live aliens kept for study. Satellites and surveillance. Satellite images show a sprawling complex, underground tunnels and radar installations. Experts believe Area 51 is a hub for black-budget projects funded by untraceable money. What kind of technology could justify such secrecy? Insider accounts and leaks. Whistleblowers like Dennis and Tony have given interviews under anonymity. They claim Area 51 isn't just about aircraft. It's about other things from beyond Earth. But their voices are rarely heard in mainstream media. The impact on UFO culture. Area 51 is a symbol, a place where conspiracy theories thrive. It's been the focus of movies, books, TV shows. But with each revelation comes more questions. Why such extreme secrecy? Why guard Area 51 so fiercely? Because knowledge is power. If alien technology exists, it could revolutionize energy, transform transportation, shift global power balances. Could this be why we're kept in the dark? Area 51 today, tourist attraction or military fortress. Despite being off limits, Area 51 draws crowds of UFO enthusiasts every year. They camp nearby hoping to glimpse strange lights or secret flights. But official visits, impossible. Warning signs and military presence, high-tech surveillance, motion sensors, armed guards. Trespassers are arrested or worse. Why such extreme measures for an ordinary air base? Could Area 51 be the tip of the iceberg? Area 51 may be just one of many secret facilities. Other rumored sites include Dulce Base, New Mexico, Cheyenne Mountain Complex, Colorado, Montauk Project, New York. Is there a hidden network of alien research centers? The Element 115 mystery. Lazar's mention of Element 115 intrigued many. Element 115 moscovium was synthesized in 2003 but is highly unstable. However, Lazar claimed the stable isotope powers anti-gravity tech. Could this be the breakthrough humanity is missing? Pop culture and Area 51. Area 51 inspired blockbuster films like Independence Day and Paul. These movies mix fact and fiction, but they keep the legend alive. Is Hollywood helping prepare the public for eventual disclosure? The most important question. What are they hiding beneath the desert? Is it proof of alien life? A secret technology far beyond our reach? Or something even more disturbing? What if Area 51 is just the beginning? If there's truth buried under that desert, How much more is hidden worldwide? And if governments have had this knowledge for decades, what does that mean for us? And you? Would you want to know the truth? Or is some knowledge too dangerous? Could the real Area 51 secret change everything you believe? Vanished without a trace, the UFO abduction files. What if someone saw a UFO and never came back? What if the stories we call abductions are not myths, but warnings? And what if it's already happened, more times than we know? The man who disappeared for 5 days. November 5, 1975. Arizona, Apaches at Greaves National Forest. 7 loggers were driving home after a long workday. Then something appeared in the sky. A glowing disc floating silently above the trees. One of them, Travis Walton, stepped out of the truck. He walked toward the object, and in a blast of blue light, he was thrown through the air. The crew panicked and fled. When they returned minutes later, Travis was gone. A missing person case with nitrogen monoxide explanation. The town of Snowflake, Arizona, exploded in panic. Sheriff's deputies scoured the woods. Helicopters, search dogs, nothing. No blood, no body, no tracks. He vanished right where the craft had hovered. Authorities suspected murder. The crew were treated as suspects, but all passed polygraph tests, and no one broke. He came back. 5 days later, on the night of November 10th, Travis was found. He called his brother from a phone booth. Confused, weak, terrified. He had no idea how long he'd been gone. He thought only hours had passed. The abduction story. Over the next few weeks, Travis slowly began to recall what happened. Under hypnosis and interviews, he described waking up inside a strange metallic room, being surrounded by small, gray-skinned beings, experiencing telepathic communication, being examined by tall, human-like figures with golden eyes, losing consciousness again before waking on the side of the road. He believed he was taken aboard a craft, examined, studied, released. But why? Polygraphs, witnesses, and doubt. Travis passed multiple lie detector tests. So did his crew. Investigators from APRO and NICAP UFO research group supported his story. Skeptics accused him of orchestrating a hoax. But even critics admitted, if this is a hoax, it's one of the most flawless ever pulled off. Fire in the Sky, the film that shocked audiences. In 1993, Travis's story was adapted into the film Fire in the Sky. It became an instant cult classic. The abduction scene was terrifying. Alien, clinical cold. Audiences were horrified. It felt too real, too detailed, too possible. So, was it real? Could Travis Walton have hallucinated the whole thing? Could it be a shared delusion, an elaborate hoax, a government cover-up experiment? No evidence ever proved it fake, and Travis never changed his story. "I wish it hadn't happened," he once said. "But I know what I saw. Not the only one." Travis isn't alone. Thousands of people across the globe report similar abduction experiences. Waking paralyzed, seeing bright lights, floating through walls, being inside rooms with non-human entities, having missing time. Are they all lying? Or is something happening we can't explain? Shared trauma or shared memory. Many abductees report PTSD, unexplained scars, burn marks, nosebleeds, vivid dreams, obsessive drawings of symbols or crafts. Are these psychological symptoms or physical evidence? Where do they go? If abductions are real, where are people taken? Some believe onto ships in orbit, underground alien bases, another dimension. And why are they returned? Are we being watched? What if abductions are not random? What if they're genetic research, psychological testing, preparations for contact, or worse, control programs? Classic cases that match Travis. Betty and Barney Hill, 1961, described similar beings, sane paralysis, missing time. A Lagash incident, 1976, group of friends abducted while canoeing, shared memories under hypnosis. Calvin Parker, 1973, another terrified abducted, described robot-like beings with claws. Too similar to ignore, too many to dismiss. What if memory can be erased? Many abductees only recall experiences under hypnosis. Could these memories be suppressed or blocked? Some believe aliens use telepathic control. Others suggest military experiments to manipulate the mind. What if you've been taken and don't even know it? The government's role. Did the military monitor Travis's case? Some locals claimed to see black helicopters after his return. Could the government have covered up physical evidence, tracked radiation or implants, known the abduction was coming? And if they knew, why didn't they stop it? Why him? Why was Travis chosen? Was it random? Or was he a target? Abductees often share common traits: O+ or Rh negative blood, psychic sensitivity, family history of sightings. Is there a biological marker for contact? Still unexplained. After nearly 50 years, no evidence of a hoax, no motive ever proven, no other explanation ever confirmed. The Travis Walton abduction remains one of the most credible and disturbing UFO cases in history. And the scariest part, it could happen again. What do you believe? Would you believe Travis Walton if you met him? Do you think thousands of abductees are lying? Or do you think they've seen something we're not ready to face? If it's all true, what do they want from us? Why are they here? Why do they keep returning across centuries, cultures, and continents? Are they helping us evolve? Or are we living inside a vast experiment? They've always been watching. From ancient summer to the skies over Silicon Valley, they appear at key moments in human history. During the rise of pyramids, at the birth of atomic weapons, in the midst of space exploration, round global crises. Coincidence or timing? Ancient records, modern parallels, Sumerian tablets, Mayan carvings, Egyptian hieroglyphs, biblical texts, all speak of sky beings, chariots of fire, flying discs, beings descending from the stars. How did civilizations separated by oceans and centuries tell the same story? Did they all imagine the same thing, or witness the same visitors' appearance at critical junctures? 1945, the atomic bomb drops. Weeks later, UFOs appear over nuclear bases. 1969, humans land on the moon. Suddenly, pilots report craft shadowing Apollo missions. 20,202,021. Global pandemic. Multiple nations confirm UFO sightings again. They come when we reach a turning point. Are they protecting us from ourselves, or observing how we handle chaos? Is this a test? What if humanity isn't random? What if we're part of a grand design? Abductees, contactees, whistleblowers. Many report the same disturbing idea. We are being watched, studied, maybe bred. Experiment or intervention? Why so many abduction stories? Why genetic samples, implants, and psychological manipulation? Some researchers believe they're manipulating our DNA, creating hybrid beings, testing emotional responses, monitoring human development. But why? To help us evolve, or to ensure we never outgrow them? Mind control and contact. Several contactees described telepathic communication. Others mentioned dreamlike downloads of information. Some claim the beings are seeding ideas, guiding technology, influencing decisions. Could humanity's greatest inventions have been whispers from the stars? Governments know more. If the governments of Earth know the truth, why not tell us? Maybe they struck a deal. Maybe they're just as afraid as we are. Or maybe control is easier when truth is buried. The mask of friendliness. What if they appear kindly on the surface? Some abductees report cold, clinical treatment. No empathy, no communication, no warmth. Others say the beings manipulate emotion to gain trust. Are we seeing them as they really are, or only what they want us to see? We are not alone, but are we free? If someone watches every step you take, are you truly free? What if Earth is a zoo, a lab, or a simulation, and we're just subjects? What comes next? Some believe we're nearing a global disclosure event, that the truth will be revealed. Others fear it's already too late. They've been here too long. They control the game. So, will they make contact openly, or keep hiding in the shadows? The final questions. If they are here, if they're more advanced, if they've shaped who we are, what do they want? What's their end game? And more importantly, do we still control our own future? And you, would you welcome contact or fight for independence? Would you want the truth, even if it shattered everything you believe? Or would you rather live in ignorance, safe from the stars? Maybe we are not alone. Maybe we never were. Maybe we were never meant to be. Series conclusion. You decide. From Roswell to ancient aliens. From Project Blue Book to black budget programs. From whispered sightings to public Pentagon reports. The pieces are on the table. The story is unfolding. But the ending? That's still being written. Thank you for watching, for thinking, for wondering. The truth isn't just out there. It might already be inside you. Drop a comment below. What do you think they want from us? Subscribe for more mysteries, hidden truths, and the stories they don't want you to know. End of series. Do they live among us?